All right, we are here back in another park. Today we're in Century Park here in Shanghai. We migrated to we're in yeah. This is
Yep.
Pudong. Okay, so we've come over. We've got a beautiful day, beautiful sunny day. Lots of people out in the park hanging out, and we're here to talk some more. What are we
Yeah.
going to talk about today, Phoebe?
I feel like it's the other topic which I feel like I am interested most. So it's called like the cross culture empathy.
Okay,
That's the thing. I think all of us can learn a lot from today's episode. Hopefully.
hopefully yes,
Yeah.
yes.
'Cause
Hopefully we can deliver.
yeah. Because before I was really as I talked to you like just actually just like a few minutes before we start on live, I feel like it's a little bit complicated to learn how we're gonna address the whole stuff to our audience.
Right.
I feel like maybe we just start as usual. We just talk about more about your maybe some share our story. Then maybe we can gradually learn from each other's experience. We can learn from the real life cases. How do you feel about that?
I feel great about that.
Cool.
We can roll with that. First, we probably have to define exactly what
Yeah.
this is.
Start with definition. So actually, as so maybe maybe you can.
You can defer to me. That's okay. I can take this one.
So
So,
how do you feel? How would you define about the cross culture MC?
I mean, I think last time we talked about cultural adaptability, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's generally clear to people what adaptability means, and us just adding the cultural aspect to it means applying adaptability to a intercultural context. In the same way, cultural empathy is taking the concept of empathy and being an empathetic person and putting that in the context of an intercultural setting. So really what that comes down to is I think cultural empathy essentially is when you are in this intercultural situation and when people are driving you crazy and they don't do the things that in the way that you would do it from a cultural standpoint. This is great. It's like we have visual effects, but really they're just real life bubbles. For those listening, we just had a cloud of bubbles approach us. The kids are out in the park today. What that really means is you're able to step back and look at things through this lens of empathy and in the idea that, and this is one of the tricky things when you first leave your own culture, your country, or what have you, is you need to understand that the way you were taught how to view the world and how to engage in social interactions is not the way. It's not the right way. It is a way. And there are many different ways in the world that you are going to encounter. And what you need to understand is their way of doing things is just as right, quote unquote, right, as yours is. So it's about invoking this sort of empathy, right, and being able to put yourself in the other shoes and view these headaches in the light of these people they're not trying to cause you a headache. They're just living the life that they know how to live. And you need to accept that and not view others' actions in the lens of your host culture, as in if they do something that you would perceive to be rude in your world, it is not necessarily rude in their world, right? And so you need to see past the action in the way that you have been socialized to view what that action means and try to dig deeper and really understand what this person's intention is. That was a super, super long-winded answer. And sometimes, in the wise words of Michael Scott, I'll open my mouth and I don't know where it's going to lead me. That was one of those moments right there. But in a nutshell, right, cultural empathy, it is taking this idea of empathy, being able to not just see things on the surface, but see the deeper level, see the intention of the other. And in that way, hopefully, create stronger connections with those in your host culture. Did that make any sense? Did you get that?
Well said. I would.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know
feel
about
like,
that, but thank you.
Because the thing is, why I ask you to like, because so one of so the first reason, obviously you're, because I think you've been through a lot of like, I mean, to me it would be like super comfortable and super, like, just like super. We can't call it fresh, but it's like super in a complicated situation.
Yes.
While you are staying in a completely strange environment.
So
So
strange.
also like also when you're like now like you're like staying in China, and also I mean to me I'm actually very surprised like how you like when you like encounter those like super like I mean I feel like it would be rude and ridiculous, but maybe to you maybe like just so just like something doesn't make sense at all.
At
Like,
one point, I would, yes, ridiculous. And I still use the term, I would still use the term ridiculous. However, I think those who are maybe coming straight from the West and think I use the word weird or ridiculous think I'm saying that in a demeaning way. I mean that in a very positive way. It's just like,
yeah,
it's just
insane.
kind of bizarre. But like, I'm not, there's
Yeah.
no negative connotation to it. I'm just saying that is objectively a bizarre thing. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's just it's unique and different from the perspective and from the world in which I grew up in. So yes, there have been countless ridiculous things that I've encountered and been subjected to for sure.
Yes, and also like there is something I actually want to lead to the next point is about the so it's just add like the extra stuff to to before like what do you say about the definition of the culture the cross cultural empathy. I think the other important thing which obviously I think we can all get it from what you just answered is that maybe I feel like sometimes when because it's actually really hard for people to just start to like because a lot of people say when you said oh you should have the empathy about for the others or for like their complete different cultures, but some people will take it even for me it would be like oh you have to be like tolerant to something even if you don't like it. But the thing is maybe at first you say yeah because I'm the guest. When I'm in a super strange environment obviously even if I don't feel comfortable because if I should have the cultural empathy, maybe it means like I should be tolerant and don't say it. Don't just try to make no judgments.
I think tolerance is like it's the first step,
Yeah, but
right? I don't
also,
think it's true empathy. I think tolerance is the ability to. But I'm saying this not in a disagreeing way, but I like that you brought this up. Is like cultural empathy and the ability to fully exhibit that is not I would not say I have reached that point. To really like have like true cultural empathy is a high ask. Like it takes a while to get there.
Yeah.
And it's certainly a lot of it's actually 100% mindset stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean I get frustrated quite often with those sorts of situations. I have not been able to train my brain to act in a way where I look at the intention of the other rather than the act. But I think tolerance is the first step because tolerance is what's going to keep you in the game long enough to continue to have these interactions and engage in these situations to where you can develop that full empathy. So I appreciate you bringing up that sense of tolerance. I didn't think of
I
that
agree.
before.
And also I feel like once most of people, I mean, once they're reach to this stage and successfully just get over to the first barrier to be try to be adapt to the local culture or whatever stuff. So, but the thing is, when you do have let's say the culture like tolerance stuff, the thing is, I don't for me personally, I feel like that's something like it can only like last for like short term. Because if you are still like sticking to the mindset that I'm trying to be tolerant, but the thing is, it will actually bring up a little bit negative in the feeling.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. It keeps you in the game, quote unquote. It makes you. It puts you like, I am. There's some weird stuff that goes on in this country. Okay. For example, old men spitting on the street in a super unapologetic way. In our world, that's unbelievably rude, extremely rude. However, here it's a very normal thing, right? And so when you arrive here and you see it for the first time, I'm not super empathetic towards these guys, but I'm in their world and this is their norms. So I have to tolerate it. Because if I don't tolerate it, nothing's going to change, right? So you have to tolerate it. And then maybe one day I will reach a point of enlightenment in which I can be empathetic towards old Chinese men spitting on the street. But it's a
Okay.
long road. I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah. I get it. So, but also I feel like, because why I bring this up, because I feel like, so before, I've also seen a lot of videos, also like some of my foreigner friends, they kind of live here like for like more than 1 or 2 years. So I think they do reach to the level like they are aware of those uncomfortableness, and also they'll be willing to like, oh, I can bear with that.
Right.
But remember, sometimes I feel like when you use this kind of word more, but I feel like it will, the words really matters. It will arouse some of the, certain kind of feeling that we talked before. So, but today I feel like we want to actually help those people, our audience, to like kind of reach to the higher level, which is when you do want to like cultivate your cross culture MC ability.
Yeah.
Maybe try to, maybe you start with, of course we need all start with like, oh, we should be more tolerant with this kind of situation, we should bear with that. But if we do want to cultivate our skills, I mean the cross culture MC skills, probably I feel like maybe there is some way, I feel like I feel definitely, I think that you already reached to this level, which I want to bring up, which is maybe can use a little bit some like as we call it, different perspective to view all this kind of uncomfortableness, which is also like I think it's a way for people to reach to a higher level of the MC, which I would say in short would be a word like humor. If you're,
Humor's a good way to get there. It's
that's
not
how,
everything, but it's certainly a good way to get there.
for our audience, just for example, just for make you all clear, if you check out all our videos, you will see actually humor address a lot of this kind of like, oh, I should bear with that situation. If you view it with humor as what we did all the time,
Yeah.
things were totally different. Then
Correct.
with humor, with this new perspective, you're not only just reach your cross culture MC skill to this level, but also like you will actually like unlock a new type of like adventure in like super. Before it might be the environment you might say it sucked. You are just be there. You have to bear with all the stuff. Suddenly you are not in that mindset anymore. You're not bear with those strange or ridiculous things. You're the one who want to explore those funny stories. I did you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, a sense of humor is certainly needed, and not in the sense that you need to be able to pick up on this other culture's sense of humor and get the joke or anything like that, but I think it's more so the ability to just laugh things off and to laugh at the absurdity of it all. So, right, not humor in the traditional sense, not the ha 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 when someone tells you a joke that you don't necessarily understand because there is a cultural context. I mean, just the absurdity and the awkwardness of the situations that'll arise, being able to just laugh it off in your reflection, in the moment, even perhaps, is definitely a critical aspect. And I know that's definitely gotten me through some of the, again, the absurdity that I've lived through over the past few years.
Yeah, I mean, also we can also bring some kind of cases to maybe
I
show.
have so many cases.
Yeah, so for example, maybe yeah, I actually yeah, let me do it. I want to bring the first one, foreigner watch. If with this, if I mean normally the
All right, hold on.
yeah,
Let me
you
introduce
can
what
do that.
foreigner watch means. So on Xiaohongshu, which is China's Instagram, recently there has been a large interest in foreigners because there has been the 144-hour transit visa. A lot of countries have now received visa-free privileges for up to 2 weeks. So there is a large influx of short-term visitors, foreigners. That was not the case a year ago, right? And So when people make their itinerary to come to Shanghai, one of the trending activities that everyone will put in their itinerary is where to go look at foreigners and watch foreigners. And so when you combine that fad with the fact that staring is a 1000% normal thing to do in Chinese culture, just directly stare at people with no, from our Western sense of norms, sense of this is kind of awkward or rude. As a foreigner, when you go to these tourist hotspots in Shanghai, when they are not Shanghainese, they are visitors from other cities, people will absolutely stare at you blankly and in a way that you're going to perceive as rude. However, if we can apply this sense of empathy to the situation, you need to understand that they've never seen a foreigner before. And if you grew up in a world that was relatively closed off, and everyone you ever saw in your life always looked like you, and now suddenly you see this person who has a different skin color, a different color of eyes, a different shape of eyes, a different color of hair. Maybe they're taller, maybe they're way shorter. They're just objectively different than anyone you've ever seen. You know, you'd probably stare too.
I mean, they probably there. I actually I've also searched some posts, because a lot of like foreigners say, oh, like there will be a lot of like stare at foreigner stuff about all the foreigner watch. They pretty nervous, but I'm very glad to see one post. It's posted by like a like Chinese person. He's like, don't be scared out. Trust me, they're all also the other foreigners also agree, like they've been live here for so long. They definitely know what's exactly going on at this place. That they have good intention. They just out of their curiosity, just pretty genuine.
That's a great
curiosity.
way.
Yeah.
That's kind of always the briefing I give to someone before they come to China
Yeah.
is like, because it's really like the older people will do it more intensely and it can be uncomfortable because they will stare with you with a just blank face. But if you wave or smile or say hi, they'll immediately like smile and engage. But when you come here with the perception of like a blank stare is like just a very weird thing to do, you're gonna think it is almost like malicious when really it really is out of pure curiosity.
And sometimes when you like traveling on the train, you might there are probably a lot of videos on TikTok or other platform. If some foreigners like they might stare at foreigners or even not foreigner, even for me, like because I'm a girl, like I'm taller than average girls among my people. So actually, when I would travel like to the inner city of China, actually I being a even at that case, we like there are some foreigners around us, but to them, they will stare at me more than foreigners. I was very because normally in Shanghai would be like stare like people would generally stare at foreigners than a tall girl because in Shanghai you definitely can see a lot of tall girls, but to them like foreigners they might see a lot of foreign tourists. With the tall girl, they'd be like, oh, that's pretty rare to see.
So weird.
People even ask like me to ask me like how tall you are and even just ask me to like
For a picture?
not picture
Autograph?
like they asked one of the tallest boy of them and also asked like to like us to like compare our height.
Yeah.
Which I feel like it's pretty rude in my from where we are. Like
But-
we normally don't. But
but-
at that point, because if you use the culture empty at that moment, I certainly use, but at that time I just didn't realize I actually use that. I feel like I don't feel like rude or mad at all, because I feel like they're just out of general curiosity and they just want to know like how tall you are. So what I do just I say yes, we can compare our height and also we can take pictures. Which today I still feel warm, like we have that pictures and
So warm.
remind me all the time. Oh, and now the granny actually pretty. They are not being mean. At first, I was a little bit shocked. 'Cause normally here people don't like worry about you because you're too tall, but they are worried about me because to them they're like tall girls can. It's a little bit hard to them to find out like a super match. But I feel like, oh, actually, if you're view them in just like in a more like
Put yourself in the other's shoes.
yeah, but you would say like they just care about you. Maybe in a way, you feel a little bit uncomfortable or like feel like just ridiculous way. But yes, if you put yourself in other people's shoes, things were different.
And
And
I
also
think
just add a little bit humor. Yeah.
humor is important too. I think one of the first things, especially I can speak for Americans because we do live in a bubble and in comparison to other countries are extremely sheltered about the outside world. The moment you are in another country, preferably if you are alone, because this sensation will hit harder if you're alone and there isn't really anyone to lean on or to support you there, and you just feel like an absolute idiot. You can't speak a word of the language. You don't know what's going on. You feel super uncomfortable. You just you're gonna now start to understand what foreigners in your country feel like. And growing up in the US with a very sheltered background, a vast majority of people, when they interact with a foreigner, English is their second language. Even if they speak it well, they still have an accent. I would say a lot of Americans have the perception that this person is perhaps like less intelligent than them. I'm not speaking for everyone in the US, but I think that's a pretty common perception of the situation. And when you find yourself being the dumb one, when you start to sit down and study a language and it takes you years to even get to a point where you can converse, and you have to figure out all this stuff and be in a land that you are not from and you do not have these rights, etc., that is your first step into this world of cultural empathy. Because now you're going to start to understand what all those people were feeling and went through in those situations. And now you're the one that has to deal with that. Now, if you really want to turn the notch up, of the past 6 years that I have been bouncing around in different corners of the world, about 2 of those years, I've lived in the homes of families that are from those places. And that is probably the most intimate way you can live in another culture. Not probably, definitively is. And that is an absolute cheat code to unlock a sense of empathy, in my opinion. I still, the first time I did it was for a semester. It was 3 months. I was in Nepal, and it was, I don't like the word transformative, but it truly absolutely changed the way I view the world and interactions with people. And it dialed up the sense of empathy for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
And you've done this as well.
I mean the culture empathy.
I'm saying in Germany.
That probably me the first time, not only like being abroad, but also like it's the first time you were homestaying, like
Yeah, exactly.
like totally strange. Yes, I actually because I feel like because the time I spent with them, like I'm pretty sure because like it's just like a week, but yeah, it's just I feel like even if like just like because I feel like you definitely know your situation is much complicated than I do because as you said, like some of the family you stay with can't speak English at all, so which means you can't use the language as
Yeah,
a vehicle
it
to
just
help you to.
it you feel like an idiot, and I really do feel like that sensation is your first step to developing it, because then you realize like a inability to speak the language super well, an inability to truly understand how things are, is absolutely shattered. and you understand that everyone just operates under different assumptions of how interaction should go, how the world works, what sounds you make with your mouth to communicate. And yeah, I mean, to really develop what is cultural empathy, you need to have this experience of just your reality kind of shattering in that way. And really, again, like I said earlier, like dig deeper to see the intention of someone's actions and how someone interacts with you, rather than the act on face value through the lens of the world you were socialized into. Because I feel like I've used this word socialized a lot, and a lot of people will sometimes think that word socialized is, it's almost like in the realm of conspiracy. But in general, when you grow up in the world and there is a society of people around you who teach you this is the way things are, this is the language you use, this is how you interact with people, that is socialization, right? You're taught, it is ingrained in you that these are the things, this is how things are, and this is how you interact with people around you. And when you step into another world and understand that there's a completely different way of doing it, and and now you have hundreds, if not thousands, of versions of that throughout the world in different communities and cultures, then your perception of this is the way things are is completely gone, right? And then you're able to develop that sense of empathy and really connect with people and put yourself in others' shoes.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually like pretty easy to like. I mean, for all people, they were definitely understand like, oh yes, we all know like we should, if we want to have like start, we want to like cultivate our skills of the MC stuff, we definitely need to put ourselves in other people's shoes. I mean, people generally know like the idea behind that, but the thing is, when you actually encounter the situation, even if it's in your own place, you are say if you are not in a like totally strange like the what say like you're still like in your city, your neighborhood.
Yeah.
But I feel like actually the cross culture MC can start right where you are. You know, if you're in because it's like it's because I think there are a lot of people like from different places living. I mean, we also like share the same environment, but still we do have different culture mindset. So I feel like sometimes cross culture MC. Do you think it will be something like you're try to understand more or try to I don't know if I use the word right, analyze other people's mindset a little bit in the from the cultural aspect.
Yeah, I mean, like, something we talk about often is this idea of observation,
Yeah.
right? I think that's super critical. I mean, I've sat down at countless dinners or have had countless interactions at the park or have just seen countless mini crises, like when, for example, Shanghainese people in particular, might get super anxious about something that's super small, and so like I'll see how that situation plays out. Again, I think that's why we said earlier, like this idea of tolerance is what's going to keep you. Oh no, it's going to keep you in the game. You're going to be like, this is the way things are. It's okay. Like, it's not affecting me. I'm just here. I'm going to see it. And it keeps you there long enough to develop the sense of true empathy, because you need to put in the hours, the quote unquote reps. You need to see all the situations. You need to see how people act. And then you're going to start to develop a sense of, oh, you can see the intention behind an act, right? Sometimes, for example, here, people might be really aggressive trying to grab your bag or to help you. And at first you see that as like, I'm okay. Like, please just I can handle myself. Please just, but then it's like, oh, like they want to help you. Like they want to take the burden away from you and help you. And through observation and just being deep in that culture and in that society, you're going to start to develop that sense of empathy by seeing the intentions of how people act and not getting annoyed by the things that you perceive to be annoying or rude. But one thing I wanted to discuss before we change topics is we were talking about the topic of homestays. And maybe this would be a good time to talk about how next summer we have to fly to New York for a few events and meetings. And I happen to be from upstate New York. And we had the idea that since we're flying over there anyways and we have the time, we might feed you to the wolves. And we might have you do some homestays with some family members.
Oh, homestay again, and also like in
with my
US?
family members.
Oh.
And have some intense experiences. So this intense experiences, as far as just you get to see what my people are really like. So this plan came about earlier this week, and so I've wondered if you've thought about it anymore, if you've been kind of thinking about how it could go, and if you could reflect on the plan of it, and think about how you think it might go, especially in the lens of developing this quote-unquote cultural empathy.
Wow, I guess it's for me it's really about learning by doing, because I feel like it would be I just can't imagine what kind of situation I might encounter at that point. But yeah, I feel like it's a great chance for me to, and also for us to maybe use this homestay experience or whatever, like challenge.
Well, you.
Yeah, oh,
if
me.
any awkwardness arises, I'm not going to step in.
Oh.
You need to resolve all the situations. I will be of only emergency help.
Emergency help.
Only if there's blood. Only if there's a fight and someone starts
Okay.
bleeding and needs to go to the hospital will I intervene.
Yeah.
The rest of it, I totally just want to have you have the full immersive experience, and I will not try to mediate in any way.
Yeah, but also I feel like so before I was thinking maybe I'm not the best candidate to like show people like, oh, how like person like never exposed to the other culture and like suddenly be put into like a homestay situation. But I feel like because today like so internet makes luckily I make everyone like can reach to their different culture, like, all the information.
Well,
like,
that's
pretty easily.
another note about you is what you might lack in this context of extensive experience abroad. You have done a very good job of being here and utilizing the internet to develop the sense to understand foreigners.
I feel like it's also can be like I maybe can just like give other people some share, like just they might feel the same way, because I mean most young people at my generations, I'm not saying just like Chinese young people, but also the other people, they probably are not like the older generation, but they probably just all the information and video and images about the overseas culture probably are very limited to them. For our generation, probably like I definitely never been to US before, but yeah, we've seen a lot of like the documentary, whatever, or the posts or people those information online. So I feel like we're definitely like, but also maybe we thought we are capable enough to handle all the situations.
Well, yeah, nothing compares to the real thing.
Yeah, but
I
the thing
mean,
is,
if you're going to live in the houses of my family members, very few of which who have really seen any of the outside world, you're going to get the true immersive experience. And
pretty
through
much
that, I
like the
hope you
idea.
develop empathy and not resentment for Americans, but empathy, preferably.
Yeah, but also I feel like one of the good thing about that is like before, when I do like my just out of my personal interest, I was doing some research, because I feel like maybe people are not actually that curious about the like those really small things. What I would say, like, oh, what the other people will like do for their spare time, what people prefer to eat for their lunch or dinner or something.
Just the daily life stuff.
Yeah, but surprisingly, when I search on some of the posts, some people actually still, even if they are not that old generation, people, I feel like it's still like genuine curiosity, like be behind all those like their intention of like searching all the stuff online. So people still curious about. So I feel like even if we thought we actually know a lot about, like for example, know about how people in US will do and eat, because we may think, because we're being exposed to a lot of the movies or TV series or whatever stuff.
Yeah, but none
But
of that
still,
is the
yeah,
actual thing. Like none
exactly.
of it. So, on that note, what are you nervous about? How do you think it's gonna go? What are some?
Oh, actually, I'm not nervous. I would say probably like, if so after my adventure, I would say adventure through all
Which
the.
will be documented in some way. So in the future, this will. I mean,
Yes.
it'll be. We will share what some of your
Yeah.
experiences or awkwardness or
Yeah.
insights were.
Because before I feel like it's people won't be curious, won't be interested in that, because obviously I'm the person who actually know a little bit of English, and also
You know quite a bit of English, but
yeah.
yeah,
So I
I
think like
appreciate the
people
modesty.
like, I think people were more interested about those kind of person who can't speak English at all and who never been abroad at all, and how maybe just never know a thing about the Western culture.
But again, it's you are going to be put in a situation where you're going to interact with someone who's never learned a language other than English and who's never lived in any sort of foreign situation. So you are going to see our version of that.
Oh.
Because the issue is if you take someone who's never left China and can't speak any English and put them into a context with someone who's never left the US and doesn't speak anything other than English, one, they don't have a common language to communicate. Two, none of them neither of them will likely have an intrinsic interest in getting to know each other and developing the sense of empathy. So the key thing is that you are interested in that and you have the prerequisite of having developed the language to communicate with them.
Okay.
So that wouldn't work. The whole key point is you are the person that is willing to put yourself out there and in a situation that you perceive
Do I?
that well, you're committing to this idea.
Yeah.
So you're committing to something that when we first started discussing it, you were like, that might be a little awkward. Are you sure? But after perhaps persuading you is an appropriate word to use, you are going to be going into this situation accepting that it might be awkward. There might be some weird moments. It might be uncomfortable, but you're willing to do that in the sense of knowing that you're going to get something out of it and you're going to learn something from it in the end, even though the process of it might not be enjoyable in the normal sense.
Yeah, I feel like it's
Like,
I
what are
mean,
your motivations to do this other than me partially forcing you to do it?
yeah, it's good before like
Jokingly, that's a
yeah, yeah.
joke. That's a joke.
I feel like I have the right now my motivation to do that, because I feel like I just want to like maybe hopefully represent some of those group of people like me who thought. I mean, probably there will be a large group of people who already know a lot about different cultures, but still when they're encountered to the real life situation, they still feel like it's still like they're a little bit off from how to handle with all the stuff. So yes, I feel like sometimes what make people actually feel uncomfortable is some that it's like when the reality is actually it's it's just totally like just different from what you were expected before.
Exactly.
That's the most things people will feel uncomfortable with.
I hope you experience a sense of like shock and true discomfort. I don't want you to come to my hometown and have a absolutely carefree, joyous, lack of discomfort experience. If I maybe if I was nicer, that's what I would want. Or if I was someone who hasn't gone through these things and learned what you get after the fact, that's what I would want you to do. But I think putting you through a gauntlet of discomfort and that I have the ability to put you in these homes with people, I think that you're going to get something
Okay.
out of it in the end. And we will reflect on it during the process of it. We will discuss what you learn or what sense of empathy you've developed. But yeah, I think perhaps we should wrap up this idea of empathy until we get to that experience, because I think that'll be a great follow up to this episode here.
The one thing I feel like a little bit uncomfortable a little bit, it's like even if in Shanghai I mean half of my time is not only with you but also like there with the other like foreigner friends or clients. So like right now I feel like also like Shanghai is like as known as an international city. So it's actually like for me like being put into like English environment, it's not like a super uncomfortable thing. I feel like it will be the. I think it's too. Most of people from our city will feel like the same way. Right. But the thing is, when I actually think about, I mean, that night when you bring up the idea, I'm actually thinking about, oh, I probably would start to nervous the moment when I get on the plane, okay. When I land. Okay. Yeah, because if you're in the, I mean, New York, I feel like, oh yeah, we saw a lot of Chinese people. When I feel like tired or a little bit exhausted, I don't want to use the language. I can always switch to the to my native language.
Yeah, not in upstate New York though. Not not where you're gonna be staying. You can't switch to Chinese.
Yeah.
If you're in Manhattan, you can. If you're in Queens, you can. But not when you're upstate. So.
So it will be an environment which I can't see one of my people. Yeah. I can't even use Shanghai. All the Shanghainese don't work there.
No.
Mandarin doesn't work there.
No.
Work there.
No.
Only English works there.
Only English.
So there is no like the safety zone for me, like for that.
No safety.
Okay.
The only safety zone would be you could speak Mandarin or Shanghainese with me, but I'm gonna pretend like I don't understand a word you're saying. I'm just another one. Yeah.
Oh my god. So. Yeah, because here, like, I feel like even if they're foreigners, well, we do.
But again, like, I think, like, this was the conversation we had that night. Is like, you were like, well, like, I'm very comfortable with foreigners here, but the foreigners, I think we had this conversation on camera as well. Is like, yes, but the foreigners you interact with here are the ones who have come here and have come halfway across the bridge. They've adapted to you, right? They're meeting you halfway. This is going to be an environment where you are the one that needs to go the full length of the bridge to then interact with them, right? Like they don't know anything about your world or how you think, or like they can't do any of that. So that needs to be all the work that you do. And I'm excited to see how you flourish or crumble apart in that experience.
Oh. Yeah, I think since we're the person who try to deliver more of the
gotta practice what you preach, Hoe. You can't be talking about this stuff and not put yourself through the experiences.
Yeah, I think it actually would be great if I put myself in there, because I feel like in Mandarin we would say like 实践出真知. You only learn the true knowledge from the real life practice. So I would love to put myself in that situation. Only if when I experienced I actually put myself in your shoes, or I tried, because before you were doing the same thing when you first time landed in Shanghai, and slowly be surrounded by like anxious Shanghainese.
Yeah.
Asking and like those foreigner watching stuff. So if you can do that, I think I can at least try to do that.
Well, I'm excited. Well, until then, I think we will wrap up the topic of empathy until I think this would be great to revisit when we are in the beautiful land of upstate New York.
Also, kind of time capsule to see like how.
100%. But until then, we will wrap it up. And in conclusion, just be patient with people. 99.9% of the people in this world are great people, and they don't mean any harm towards you. They truly do want to help and be kind. And so as long as you can see through what you think are actions with negative intentions, and I'm super distracted because there's a guy behind the camera right now kind of like plugging something into an electrical box, and I don't know if it's going to affect our setup. So I'm trying to do this while also monitoring that situation. No, really, most people in this world are great, and they do want to help, and you just need to develop the sense of being comfortable, at first tolerating what you might perceived to be annoying or negative actions. And over time, you will start to see through these things and understand that the people underneath the actions that you were socialized to perceive as negative are truly good people, and they really do have good intentions. And we can all just love each other and get along in this world.
And also, my just to add a little bit more. Remember when you so every time whenever you feel a little bit uncomfortable or feel like you want to quit or something, try to use humor as like new perspective to view all the stuff. Try to refresh yourself up. Maybe you will just unlock like a new word.
Just maybe. It does take work. Just maybe.
Maybe.
Just maybe.
Okay.
All right. Let's bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.